right, guys, welcome back to the Soul Fresh podcast. I'm your host, BK. Tonight's episode is one that truly touches the heart. I had the privilege of sitting down with Trey, Diedre, and their family to share a story of love, loss, and resilience. So 10 years ago, they faced the unimaginable, losing their sweet baby girl to pediatric cancer. But out of the pain, they built something beautiful, a foundation created in Keris' honor, a lasting tribute to her life and her legacy. If you feel moved to help in this fight against childhood cancer, please visit www.keriskares.org and consider making a donation. This conversation is powerful, it's emotional, and it's a reminder of the strength found in family and in community. Now let's get to it. Let's talk about November and what that time frame signifies for you all.
So the actual time frame was 2013, November. It was the week of Thanksgiving, and the kids were out of school. It's also the week our oldest has her birthday. She was turning 6 that week, but it was also kind of the culmination of several months of trying to figure out what was going on with Keris in terms of her health. We noticed things were off, and we noticed that probably in September. And we had been going to multiple doctor's appointments, multiple just urgent care, just anything to try to narrow down what was going on. And finally, that week, we took matters into our own hands, and we went to the emergency room at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta so that she would have to be admitted so we would know what was going on. And that week is when everything changed dramatically.
So basically in the beginning, you recognize the signs and like listening to your child, because I believe I read somewhere that she was saying that she had headaches and her balance was off.
Correct.
And so from there, y'all just kind of took matters into your own hand. Was it because you wasn't getting there were misdiagnoses?
Yes.
And then you just kind of advocating for yourself and just said, hey, we got to do something else?
Yes, because she was very healthy. I mean, just no issues, not even really got sick, not even having colds or anything like that, just very healthy child. And so when she was explaining to us what was happening, we were advised that perhaps she was dealing with anxiety. She was 4 at the time, so that was kind of a hard concept to believe. And we had also welcomed in our 3rd child at that time. And so they were kind of letting us know that, you know, her life has also changed. She's now a middle child. She has a new sibling. So this just may be something that comes along with that. None of those things really made sense to us, which is why we kept pursuing it medically, but we kept hitting dead ends medically.
That's amazing too, because, you know, a lot of times we tend to like not ignore it, but especially a 4-year-old says like, hey, I got a headache or whatever, like, no, you just hungry. You just tired. But the fact that y'all had the fortitude to kind of just see past that and go deep into what it may be, or it may be something.
Well, I'll tell you this, speaking to what you just said. So she told me she had a headache, and I said, what you doing with a headache? You can't have no headache. You don't got a job, anything like that. And it was weird, you know, super weird. She kept complaining about it. Little things start happening, you know, nose was running, just again, the balance being off, slowly walking, nauseous, you know, and so things like that, it just kind of occurred, and those were never, any kind of symptoms or any kind of traits or anything that Keris dealt with on a day-to-day basis. So that was super scary, and that was like a telltale sign, like, look, something is really, really going wrong with our daughter here. So we just kind of got on it from that perspective. But yeah, I did say that about the headaches and things of that nature. So whenever, our little ones are going through something or is going through something, it's up to us as parents to really check in on them and make sure that what they're experiencing is what they're experiencing, So.
Definitely.
So from the diagnosis, where do we go from there?
So for us, when we were driving up there, I want to say it was maybe a Thursday. I felt like it was a Thursday. And so we just wanted answers. And so for us, in my mind, I already felt in my gut that she had a tumor. And that was okay. I wanted them to tell me she had a tumor because everything she was saying started lining up with a tumor. And
was that like a motherly instinct, or was that you just took it in your own hands and initially started?
That was my gut. That was my gut. That was everything, because she was so descriptive. Because I said, what does this feel like to you? And she said, it feels like the bones are turning in the back of my head. And that was so specific at 4. And so I knew that it was beyond, she's just having headaches or she's anxious. One doctor told us she had bronchitis when we took her to the emergency room. So, I mean, it was wild what we were being told, and we were demanding a CT scan just so we could see, but they didn't have cause to give us a CT scan. And so that's how we ended up at CHOA. And so I wanted to hear that because in my mind, I knew that tumors were operable and you could have a treatment plan and we could get to the other side of it. But whatever it was that was there, we could get it addressed. And so they did do a CT scan after we shared her symptoms. That's one of the things they did immediately. They scanned her and they told us that they did see a mass. And I think at that point, I was still hopeful. I wasn't even panicked at that point. And then that's when they said, we're going to admit you. And so we stayed. They said, we're going to run further testing. At that point, we still had no indicators that we were dealing with cancer until the very next day. Yeah. And they did the MRI. Of course, they had to call us in and let us know what was going on, which was certainly just a really devastating day. And we had to talk to our family members. They were already there. Yeah. Also, we were preparing for her 6th birthday. So it was just this weird balance as parents where we were over here trying to make things as calm as we possibly could be, but we were really worried. Yeah. And then we had a 6-year-old super excited, and we were kind of saying, we can't be there. We can't be with you right now. We had friends and family that kind of stepped in and let her, gave her her birthday party, but everything changed at that point. And so we started notifying the family, and really we had to start treatment. We didn't even have time to react. We literally had to start radiation immediately. Yeah. So this was on a Thursday, and we were starting radiation that Monday. And so we had to kind of get into gear right away. We didn't even have time to process the magnitude of everything that was happening.
So for Dad, though, as a man and hospital women, I feel like in that situation, there's a lot of ask for you because you're the man of the house. Yes. Like, literally. Like, there are no boys. So what kind of frame of mind did that put you in as far as already having the task of being the man of the house and protecting your girls? Yeah. Where were you at that time?
Oh, I was mentally, I was all over the place. But I knew that I had to be, you know, in a solid mind state, so to speak, for Diedre, for, you know, the rest of my girls. It was Denver and Ashlyn at the time. Ashlyn was a little baby. So, but, you know, just trying to be strong for my family. And it's hard, you know, Denver and Keris, they were like my little best friends. So we spent a lot of time together. That was, you know, a lot of that time, Diedre, you know, she was working on State Farm, starting a business and things of that nature, doing things of that nature. And the girls and I, we really, you know, locked in with each other. And so to see, you know, Keris go through this and Denver see it as well, it was really, really hard. You know, even just talking about it, like, this is like the only thing that makes me sad, because I couldn't do anything, you know? And as a father with your kids, whether it's a boy, a little girl, whatnot, we are the protectors of our family. And when we don't protect our family, or when we can't protect our family, it does something to the inside, you know? And even though I knew, you know, what was going on, once we, you know, found out the diagnosis and everything, it's still, you know, you still want to be able to protect your kid. And so, it was just hard. It was super hard, but you have to push through it. That's it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna chime in just a little bit, just so we can talk about you all's inspiration at the beginning. So you guys really started heavy as far as documenting her story.
Yes.
And so I was on board in the beginning, but I will admit, like Miley, you know, it's just in the beginning when you see people going through things, you're just watching through like a lens.
Mm-hmm.
But I started thinking about you as a father, and that's why I asked that question, what kind of weight must be on you? So I saw a post where I think you were mentioning that at the last minute, y'all had just got a phone call to go to Ohio or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you had to be there like tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just had a baby myself. So I got like a 2 or 3 month old at the house, and she was a girl.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, I just had this epiphany and just weighed on me, where I can't imagine what that must feel like.
Right.
And when I mean deep in my feelings, I got deep in my feelings, and I thought it would just bug me all day. And then that's kind of when, you know, I think y'all started doing the donation thing, and I saw it pop up, and now, like, from there, I was on board 100%.
Right.
Because I couldn't imagine what you all had to go through in the dedication that you all had to go through to say, you know what, we're doing whatever we can for our child, last minute or not. We're going to make our way to Ohio.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Speaking on Ohio, when we got the call, like you said, we had to go the next day. So all in a 12 to 16 hour process. It was getting a rental car, getting packed, making sure that she's going to be comfortable on the trip. Taking care of Denver, taking care of Ashlyn, making sure everything is still the same. See, when the most important thing about family is routine, standard, that blueprint. So when you have something going on that makes you deviate from the routine, from the blueprint, now it's not just this specific situation. Now I got to worry about Denver and Ashlyn when we're on the road, thinking, okay, is that family member going to take care of it the way we take care of it? And so it's so many moving parts that go along with not just getting her to Cincinnati every Wednesday. So every Wednesday we got off work, we were headed to Cincinnati. You know, whether she can be treated or if she couldn't be treated, we have to find out that once we get there. So it was a crazy situation to be in. But when you're in that fight or flight mode, all you thinking about is fighting for your kid, you know? And so nothing else really matters at that point in time, you know?
And to also provide context, so this is 2015. And so that January, Keris and I went out to MD Anderson solo. They had a new program that had launched that we were eligible for, and it was a trial, and it was something that we needed at the time really bad because her tumor had started back growing, and once you get to that point, a lot of treatments are off the table. So this was a very unique treatment that she qualified for. And she was in kindergarten at the time. And so we got approved. We're flying out to MD Anderson, and we're prepared to stay for 30 days through the whole program. So Trey is here with the girls. I'm at MD Anderson with Keris in a temporary housing situation. And we also launched Keris Kares during that time.
Okay, so, and I didn't know that. So
Yes.
I didn't even realize that. Now that you mentioned it, so Keris Kares was launched
During her lifetime. During her lifetime. And so while we were at MD Anderson, you have to understand from just real life perspective, we're paying mortgage, utility bills, child care, living expenses in Georgia. We're paying income and medical bills. We're also paying for a rental car, temporary housing, meals, and everything associated with us temporarily setting up in Houston for a month. We're getting so much support from people we know, people we don't know. It was just unbelievable. There was a meal train going while in Noonan. There were boxes arriving in Texas. None of this we were coordinating. It was all happening. It was an outpouring. And so we launched Keris Kares while Keris was getting treatment in MD Anderson. That was in January. We planned our first 5K that May. That was our first Royal Run. We're 10 years into doing that now. But she was also there. After the Royal Run, we already had plans for our first gala in the Middle Georgia area. That was in 2015. That was set up for August. So during this time frame, we're in June, July. So all of this is happening kind of leading up to our next event. Yeah. The kids have gotten out of school, but things are really dire. Yeah. And so we're kind of taking this last effort. This was just a long shot, but we were like, if we can do anything, we're going to do it. And it required us going to Ohio once a week.
That's that fight.
Turn and burn.
Resilience.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just, I don't know, just like we're saying, I was just saying, deviating from the blueprint and all of that, we were doing out in Houston. You still have to raise the other two. You still have to maintain the household. And so sitting down and understanding, we were saying to ourselves, like, oh my God, how does someone do this without help? And that was like the most important thing to us. Like, we knew the outcome. We knew what the outcome was, but it's much greater to be able to serve and help those that are going through or have gone through the same thing that we were going through.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to fight for your child's life. And at the end of the day, knowing like the diagnosis that you got, you understand the disease, you understand the cancer and what it's doing. And so we would be, I don't know, we wouldn't be ourselves if we didn't come up with an idea, an opportunity to take care of those that are going through things that we've been through. So it's still, fight or flight, for us.
So you were talking about galas and when they were scheduled. So before we actually get to July, you mentioned something about routine. So was it Keris that wanted to keep her routine going as far as going to school and still being like,
oh yeah,
I always hear your sisters and just a lot of other people, you all,
Mm-hmm.
just how happy girl she was.
Yes.
Never, played the part of I guess you would say sick girl.
No.
And so was it you guys that were encouraging her to go to school, or was she just?
She was encouraging us,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. I would let her do whatever she wanted to do at that point in time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but Keris was not a fighter in the sense of this cancer battle, but she was just a little fighter. The way we found out the first time she told me she had a headache, we were pillow fighting. So she was just a fighter altogether, and she was determined, to go to school, to be able to play with her friends, and just try to be as normal as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell the story about when she was getting radiation and her hair was missing on the side.
Oh yeah, it was bothering me because obviously you go through radiation, and then the chemotherapy, and then the hair loss came, and so I was like really upset about it as a mother. And then she wasn't, and she was just like, "Mom, I'm okay. Don't try to cover my hair up. Still put it up in a ponytail." She said, "My hair is gonna grow back. I just still keep going." And so we just have so many moments like that make us, it's obviously still very emotional for us because it's a loss that never is gonna, ever resolve itself. But I think the thing that has allowed us to have a nonprofit for 11 years, to help families, to still show up in our communities and our jobs, and to move forward with our family is, I always think about how she was handling her process the whole time. And it was with strength, it was with resilience, it was with faith, which to me is unheard of for someone that's 4, 5, and 6, which was the time frame. And in reality, on diagnosis day, they told us she had 6 months, 9 months, tops. Yeah. And so we were in a game of days and weeks. That's the game we were playing with cancer. We were trying to stretch out days, weeks. The weeks would turn into months, and then we'd see what we could do to get to days, weeks, months. Yeah. And so we made it 20 months. And with her diagnosis, that is unheard of. Yeah. And so I know a lot of that was just her faith, her determination, and definitely the help of other people, a community of people just constantly praying. And I think that changed her outcome. I do believe that.
Yeah. Man, so, and this is something else, I'll share with you, like losing your kid, to cancer, to whatever, you lose a kid. It's just not the proper order, the way things should go in life, and so it's very, very sensitive to me. She's just a little bit more emotional than I am. But you live it every day. Like, I live this every day. Every day I wake up, I tell Keris I love her. I even ask God sometimes, why? But at the end of the day, we serve a greater purpose, and we're trying to serve a greater cause. This is why it's passionate to her, still crying, and it's passionate. It's my passion as well. Because we know like what a family goes through when they're going through it, when they're in this fire. It's tough. It's
very tough
when you can't save them. And like I say, the outcome.
Yeah.
Now you just got to go through it, And so, it's to us, this is a noble thing. And so this is why, we're so willing to, show you a vulnerable side of ourselves, because we understand the need, to help families that are dealing with, their kid has pediatric cancer. Just think about it. It sucks altogether. We understand and we know if an adult who has lived, 40, 50, 60 years in life and they pass away or they're diagnosed with a cancer, they got to live, they got to breathe, they got to enjoy this life, you know what I'm saying? And leave a legacy. If so, But when we're dealing with these kids, they don't get that opportunity. And that's the upsetting part. And what's more upsetting is if it's a family that they can't foot the bill, they can't make it to the doctor. So is their kid less important than Keris? So that's what we have to step in. I mean, I don't know, I think that's my purpose, that's my purpose now. So.
And on, the Keris Kares side, we have a saying, when a child is diagnosed with cancer, nothing stops.
Nothing stops.
Nothing stops. You stop for a moment to hear what is happening, but nothing else stops. Your bills don't stop. Your day-to-day activities don't stop. Yeah. You are now tasked with doing something extremely difficult, all while life still has the same demands. Nothing stops. And so, part of what we do from a Keris Kares standpoint is make sure that we can come in and pay a mortgage, rent, car payments, utilities, just to give a parent a little bit of relief.
Sure.
Because the bills are going to start piling up pretty rapidly.
Yeah, we experienced that firsthand, so we know. Yes, we know, and that's a hard space to be in when I'm choosing between my kid that has cancer and paying bills. That's a crazy.
I can't imagine because it's like you gotta do both.
You gotta do both.
You gotta do both.
That's where you come in. That's where you come in. We can't sit up here and not acknowledge the way we got through it. We got through it. Your wife, your mother-in-law,
right.
Your friends, our friends. You see what I'm saying? So. It takes a village. And it just so happens that, Diedre, she's a likable person, I'm a likable person. But it speaks volumes to Warner Robins. Yeah. It speaks volumes to Columbus, Georgia. It speaks volumes to Noonan. It speaks volumes to, the people across the United States that has helped, because either they see a podcast like this and they can see the genuineness on our faces, or they had a family member to go through it themselves. This is nothing personal, but it is personal. You know what I'm saying? It's not for any kind of personal gain. It's all to help kids that are suffering, or to help families that can't provide for their kids during that rough time. So, I wouldn't have it no other way, but we're here because of people like you, BK, so that's why.
For sure. Like I told you my story, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was just think about bills and gas, and just, they got a family too. I got a family, and I don't want to say if I didn't have a kid, I would be selfish. It would have hit me probably just the same, but the fact that I just had a girl too, I think I was more understanding.
Yeah.
And can really put myself in you all's shoes, specifically him, because he's a man, and I was just putting myself in his shoes.
Yeah.
So the date is July 12th, 2015, when she gained her wings, right?
Yes, that's correct.
It's a phrase that I don't like when people say it, but I understand it.
Yes.
So they say time does heal.
Yeah.
Is that true? Now look at the emotions that are still, it's 10 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, that warrants it to go away, but does it really heal? Because you're talking about your child.
Yeah, I think for me, we're so focused on legacy. And so a lot of times when I'm talking about Keris, I'm talking about it from the Keris Kares perspective, and being being charged with keeping her legacy alive and helping others through the nonprofit. But the moments when I have to not be the chairperson of Keris Kares and just sit in being the mother of Keris, that's when it's like, oh, well, does time heal? I don't know. It just, you just gain a little bit more strength as you're healing.
Yeah, that's
you know, that's what I would say, because when I'm operating on the Keris Kares side, I have on a different hat and it's almost a different compartment. And I'm doing work on behalf of other children, but keeping the memory of my child alive in doing that work. And that's a different space. But you know, like I said, we don't talk about it a whole lot when we come back on well, what was it like being a parent going through that? And then that's when that side of your brain wakes up and like, whoa, this was our reality, you know? And then that's different.
For me, I tell Diedre this a lot. I said, Diedre, you know, I really just try to put that in a space in my head and just not think about it, you know? Like now I really have to tell myself, Trey, don't cry, you know, don't cry. I don't think what is it, getting strong? I mean, how do we word it? How did you word it? Like,
time heals.
Does time really?
I don't know. I don't think I'm healed, but I've dealt with it. You know what I'm saying? It's just something you have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
Again, it's my child. You know, it's your child. You know, if your child is not here, it's kind of like the story of the sheep, the parable of the sheep in the Bible. If one is missing, you know, that's important. You know, you got 99 over here. Don't mean that I'm not gonna go look for that one, because it's just as important, you know, as the 99.
Yeah.
So, you know, healing, I don't think it's a healing process. I think it's just you learn to deal with it. You learn to deal with being here. Because if I sat and thought about this like daily, then I'll really be torn, man.
Yeah. Paralyzed almost. Yeah.
I guess, especially from your shoes, you got to be on your toes.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, not unfortunately, but you got three other girls.
Got 3 other girls, and
a wife.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, you know, Denver and Keris, they like best friends. And so, you know, now Denver is a senior. So every accomplishment Denver has, it's like, man, what if Keris would have been here? What, you know, what would she be doing? You know, and so it's like a double-edged sword. You have this joy, and then you know that, you know, you just...
And I think, I mean, the only thing I can add to that is you do still have to live your life. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. I won't say that time heals, but you also can't let time slip away and you're stuck in your grief. So I think it's incumbent upon parents to address the grief, not just for yourself, but for your children, because you are tasked with living. You do have to live. And for me, as a mother, I decided I wanted love to have the final say. I wanted to be able to rest well in knowing that, you know, we exhausted everything, we did everything. And as a parent, that is what you're charged with doing. You are charged with laying it out, leaving everything, you know, on the table, and doing everything you can. And I feel like we did that. I know we did that. And so for me, love has the final say. And so to me, that gave me permission to love and remember, but to also live. And that's where, and he knows it. I mean, I'm going to live because I feel like I have to.
Yeah. And just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, if there was anything that I did not do, or if there was anything that I refused to do, then I would really be upset with myself. But I know that in that process, I tried everything. I did everything. I gave everything. And so that is the only, I guess, relief that I would say that I can get from that situation is that I knew I tried, and she know I tried. You know, she know we tried. I mean, she told us. So
definitely,
you know, that is the part where I can be content with you know, the effort and you know, her not being here. You know what I'm saying? So we tried. I gave it everything, every inch of what was in me. I gave it to her.
So I love what y'all done with Keris Kares, and it does keep it just going as far as her name. So like there's this African parable, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know exactly, but this African fable or saying that when it comes to a loved one, it's not until the last person on earth says their name that they're actually gone. So it's like the more you wake up and say somebody's name every day, they will live on.
yes.
Until the last person on earth says their name, and then they're gone. So let's talk about Keris Kares. The fact that you can't help but say her name by saying the foundation's name.
Yes.
So how did we get to Keris Kares? You said it started during her life, and where we're at now.
Yeah.
What was the motivation behind it after? Since it started during, and then we come to July 12th, 2015, did that boost up the momentum in the fight, or did it say like, hey Trey, I ain't feeling it right now, like we need to just pump the brakes? Or was that like a fire to say, you know what, let's help the people that went through what we went through and make sure that we can minimize, you know, these things. So let's talk about Keris Kares now.
Well, so we had a gala planned that August. And so literally a month after she passed away, we had a big event scheduled in Macon. And it was, yeah. And so, I mean, there were over 400 people that had already bought tickets. So we were kind of in a situation where we could have called it off, but it didn't make sense to call it off. And so we found ourselves showing up for the first time post-funeral and having to kind of walk through the aftermath of that in a Keris Kares setting. And so it was difficult, but we made it through. The support in the room was tremendous, and it really boosted us, and it showed us like this community is sustainable. It's not, these aren't people that were just here for you as you were going through the process. There is a whole group of people that are here for you going forward. And for me, that has been really energizing for me, because running we have a real nonprofit, 501(c)(3), 2 employees, a building that we rent office space in. So we have a real nonprofit in every sense of the word. And we're helping people, multiple families all throughout the year, and doing all the things associated with running a nonprofit. So it has moved beyond just having events and fundraising, but just the day-to-day operations of raising funds and helping families and making sure the nonprofit is sustainable. So
this is hard.
And that's hard to balance it.
That's one thing I can say, and it's not just Diedre, it's not just myself, it's a board, and it's dedicated individuals that really work hard and that go hard for Keris Kares. So just looking from up close, it's really hard, because some of the things that the ladies do, I can't do it. You know, I can't not do that. I'm not that savvy. I'm not that smart. But when it comes to just having passion. I think that's something that Diedre possesses at a high level. I think that's something that I possess at a high level, the passion for this. But it's very hard work from events, staff, location, just everything. And it's another business. I always looked at, I had the idea of nonprofit was supposed to be something that was simple, something that was supposed to be really, really easy. And this is not. And when we're asking people to, be involved and to give, that's hard, that's hard.
It is. And I think a couple of years ago, I started changing how I looked at it. I stopped calling it hard work and started calling it heart work, HEART. Mm-hmm. And so that just kind of, because we have a full life. If we didn't do anything else, having 3 children, being entrepreneurs, that's a full life. Period. If we did nothing else, throw a pet in there, it gets fuller. We got 2 of them. You got throw animals in there. Now it's even, you're at the max. And so to add a nonprofit in, a lot of people stop their nonprofit because it burns them out. Because at the end of the day, they love it, but it's still a business that demands attention and time and energy and money. And so for me, I said, this is hard work. This is legacy work. And this is something that no matter what, we want this in place so that when our children are adults, they are running this organization with other individuals that understand philanthropy. They don't have to be family. They can be people that love the cause and they understand. But we want to put solid structure in place to where our organization is in place and still doing good work well after we're involved in it.
That's right. So, Keris gained her wings at such a young age. But I feel like not getting to the age of gaining a profession, she still was a teacher.
Definitely.
So my daughter wears about 3 of her bracelets every day like this.
Yeah.
And so, but I always have to, I use the inspiration of Keris to kind of teach my kids, like, well, if you're going to wear it, then you need to be strong. So when you get to these situations about like whining about something that you say you can't do, think about the bracelet that you're wearing. So for her, what did she teach you all?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I can. Man, to see the actual battle, like being there in the emergency room, being in the treatment facilities, she was a dog. She was a dog. I can remember her getting her port put in, and I cried so much. But she took it like a big girl, and just kept going. She never once felt sorry for herself, and so even the past, I would say, 32 months for me has been challenging, very challenging. But I always go back to her. Remembering when she was, getting a port put in her chest. Just remember riding back from Cincinnati thinking how's she feeling back there? How's she doing this? And so I can't give up. I don't quit. I just don't believe in that. I believe in pushing through. And I think that's the one thing that she really taught me. It's just, man, look, we don't give up. We push through until the goal is accomplished. So that's for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I take that lesson with me as well. I think for me, she just always took great pride in herself.
Oh, yeah.
Always. So I take that away because I can just remember us having our first appointment, going to Winship for radiation, and she didn't want to go in her pajamas. I mean, and I was like, what? I mean, we were going back and forth upstairs that morning. It was wee hours of the morning. What, like 5 o'clock? And I was like, but why can't you just wear pajamas? We're going to get treatment. She was like, I don't want to walk out of the house in my pajamas. I wish some of the adults could hear that. Come on, somebody. She was like, I'm not going outside in my pajamas. I'm not doing it. And so I remember being up there with her, getting her hair done, putting on a full outfit. And this was every day for 6 weeks. And then after leaving radiation, sleeping in the car and going to school, because that was just her routine. And she taught me how to show up for herself. You know, she was like, I'm showing up for me. This is my standard. My husband liked to use that word a lot, your standard. But she had a standard. And when she got to radiation, they would call her Miss Hollywood. Because she'd come in there dressed from head to toe. And all the other children be in pajamas. But except for her. And she was like, this is not what I'm doing. And so we laugh about that. But to me, it's a small lesson, but it's so powerful because, you know, after you go through something like this, you want to fade away from the world. You want to disappear. You really do. And in those moments, that's when I tell myself, show up. I'm not saying don't give yourself a break when you need a break. But what I am saying is just because something is difficult does not give you cause to stop showing up. And so you can show up and be walking through difficulty at the same time. And that process of showing up and walking through helps you get to the other side of difficulty. But if you don't make yourself show up, sometimes you will quit slowly. You know what I mean? And that showing up is so important. And so that is my takeaway.
And I could share this last story. I can remember, I don't know, maybe it was like the third time us going up to Cincinnati. And, you know, we get in, check in and everything. She said, Dad, where's, I want to go to the church, you know, the church in the hospital. So you want to go to the chapel. So we went to the chapel and everything. She said, come on, kneel down, let's pray. You know, so we was there praying and everything. She was praying for all the other kids and praying for her family, you know, stuff like little stuff, you know. And so once we got done, she wanted to get up and go check on all the other kids. You know, and I was like, you realize you're sick, right?
Right.
Right? You're checking on these kids like, Dad, what's wrong with him? Dad, what's wrong with her? You know, and she's like very concerned about these kids. And I'm like, but that's her. And so just coming up in life, you know, everybody wants somebody to care for them. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, the way we learn how to care, the way we care is somebody did it for us. You understand? And it carries over. And so I think like Keris got that from us. But then again, you know, I can looking back on things and now, you know, I'm a whole lot more passionate about, you know, others and not just, you know, the kids that are battling cancer, but others' well-being. Just like, I want to know how you're doing. You know, you good? You know, and so I think that is the other thing, just genuine, you know, passion and caring for other people.
And finally, I would just say, Keris's name literally means love and charity. So she was just walking out her name. So just the importance of a name. And we really saw everything that her name meant. By definition, we saw her live that out.
Yeah. Was that intentional when she was born? The name?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So her destiny, like, is all about design.
Yeah.
And she was
definitely
person and spirit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what does Keris Kares look like going forward in the future? It's grown a lot.
It has.
I really like the day parties. That was a good decision, just me personally. I just think it's a good vibe. the other ones, the galas, they were awesome too. But I think, just, the daytime, it's a day party, everybody's outside, you're wearing different colors. And like last year was, the food was great. A lot of people showed up. So
Definitely.
it looks like it's still growing. So what does the future look like?
For us, we always want to concentrate on Middle Georgia, which is our core, our home. And so that will be the day party. We have that in September. It's actually coming up on September 21st at Suite 616. And it is a day party, as you said. And we always have to come back to Middle Georgia because those are our roots. That is a part of us at our core. We always do it in September because September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. So that is the significance of having an event in September. And then we always have our 5K, which this year was the largest year since 2015, which was our largest year, our inaugural year. So surviving COVID and being able to come back after that and to see our race still be going strong, it's one of our largest fundraisers. So our 5K will continue to focus on that and growing it here in Coweta County. And that's always in May because May is Keris's birth month and it's also Brain Tumor Awareness Month.
So, did you want to say something?
I was going to say, pretty much like with your help, with as long as that there's pediatric cancer, we're going to continue to grow. We're here to stay. And the events, they're going to continue to grow. There's a need for Keris Kares. There's a need for even other, nonprofits like Keris Kares, because we can't do all of it ourselves. We need help. And that's why we petition so much and solicit help from
Definitely.
people like, our family and friends. So we just think that Keris Kares, this is an opportunity for us to continue to grow as a 501c3 nonprofit and continue to put our imprint on this pediatric cancer situation.
So I want to swing back real quick on when we're talking about pediatric cancer. So Keris had a very rare cancer.
Yes.
Excuse me if I'm wrong, it was
PG.
DIPG.
Mm-hmm.
So can you talk about that a little bit? It's so rare.
Yeah.
10 to 15% of kids who actually get it.
Yeah, very rare. In fact, when she got diagnosed, they told us, number one, this is not hereditary because obviously we were concerned about that. They said, number two, this is like being struck by lightning. There's no rhyme, there's no reason, there's no cause. This just happens, and there are about 300 children that get diagnosed every year. So treatments are difficult to come by because of the rarity. So that was part of the challenge of our journey. And so we wanted a portion of our funds to go towards brain tumors, whether they're cancerous or non-cancerous. So a portion of our funds go to the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation to support brain tumors for kids, whether they're cancerous or non-cancerous. And then our other funds go to pediatric cancer initiatives, and then our final funds go to our Food for Families program, where we provide meals. That's our caring side of Keris Kares, and then our art boxes, which we donate those to the elementary schools, where they are given to the art teachers a couple times a year, and we want children to always be creative. So that was done in the spirit of Keris because she was very creative, very artsy, always had a notebook with her and markers and crayons, and just always creating, even while going through her journey. And so we tried to make sure that every facet of Keris Kares is impactful and touching the areas that really speak to what we experience, but also speak to the 6-year-old that this was founded for.
Yes. So one more time, if you can look at that camera, and then if y'all can just give out the information again on the day party on September 21st.
Okay. Join us in Warner Robins on September 21st at Suite 616 for our annual Keris Kares Day Party. We will have live entertainment, a band, delicious food, and we will be celebrating the legacy of Keris and also raising awareness about pediatric cancer.
All right, Deborah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So let's talk about Keris.
Let's do it.
All right, so when Keris first got diagnosed, how were you?
I was 6 years old when Keris was first diagnosed, and I don't remember much about the diagnosing process. I was quite young, but I remember her absence became more and more like common in the household, and my parents as well. I was usually with my grandmother. Sometimes my aunts would come up, but it was mostly my grandmother. And my parents would either be away, whether it be Cincinnati or the time my mom and Keris went solo to Texas.
So y'all were close in age, like 2 years
Yeah.
apart. My kids are like almost 2 years. They're like one and some change.
One and some change.
Call them twins because they're always like together. So
Yeah.
was that like the relationship you and Keris had?
Oh, for sure. We're definitely inseparable. Because 18 months, I feel like that's short. She would have been right after me as far as high school and just growing up. But we were definitely super close. As my best friend for life.
So during the time when she was getting a little bit, I guess, sicker, did you notice any change as well, or how did that make you feel?
I definitely noticed when she started to lose her hair, because it would happen in the back of her head, where the tumor was located. And when she got closer to her passing, she couldn't walk. She lost her ability to speak as well. So the signs were definitely showing up. Some areas more prominent than others. But I remember, when they did show up, I was so and I guess it's a 6-year-old's mind. When one sibling, they notice more attention or just emphasis is being put on it and you don't understand why. You're just somebody look over here. But growing up, I was like, oh my gosh, it was right in front of me and I didn't even see it until she was gone.
So you're getting older now, so now you've reached the older age of 17.
Yes.
And how has she been with you in all the things that you've done and accomplished? Like, you keep her close by as far as, maybe speak with her or just, how is she with you going forward?
My sister, so I have this thing I do every morning. I wake up, thank God, give glory for the day, give glory to God. And I always tell my sister I love her. I send a kiss to her in the morning and at night. I tell her I love her throughout the day. I tell my sisters I love them and that, when they go to bed at night, Keris loves you. And I see her in signs. Dragonflies have always been very symbolic of your loved ones being present and being with you. So I was just telling my parents last week when I'm walking out to my car at school and, sometimes I've had a rough day or I'm just going to the car to get a lunchbox. I see a dragonfly hovering over it, just waiting for me. And I would say she's with me always. She's there, working in everything that I do, even if I don't see it, or sometimes I'm just not even aware of it.
It's so weird to hear you say driving to your car or walking to your car.
Yeah.
Because I've seen you at night since you were little.
Yeah, time goes by. It's crazy to think about it myself.
So, all right. So I asked your parents the same question, and I told her I felt that she had her wings, and she wasn't old enough to reach the age of having a profession. But I feel like leaving this earth, she became a teacher.
teacher.
So what did she teach you?
Oh, gosh. Keris, definitely being able to face life in adversity. And that is a lesson that I've just learned recently. And I'm talking about like over 3 years. Resilience. I have faced so much adversity with just 17 years of life already. The biggest one, losing my sister. And life, part of life is challenge. You're not gonna go throughout life untested. I saw that with my 6-year-old sister, you know, facing cancer as the ultimate test, but in the end, not letting death victor over her in a way. So definitely staying strong in adversity. She never complained. She took all of her medicine like a champ, even the shots and the chemo, all of it. She still was so positive and so full of life and joy and love. So just maintaining that, not letting life beat you or conquer you, but standing up, being brave, and rising to the challenge.
So, and I guess this is a similar question, but going forward, how do you, on your, not just your day-to-day, but just life in general, how do you keep Keris' name alive?
I always wear her on my wrist, Keris Kares. But I feel like I carry Keris with me in how I maintain myself, how I lead my sisters, how I am a leader of self. She didn't get to meet Nova, or, I guess Nova didn't get to meet her, and Ashlyn was very young. So just being compassionate and even learning compassion still. When she left, I was so like devoid of it, I feel like, and I didn't know how to show it or to embrace it. So just making sure I'm practicing that always, and making sure I'm loving, being a loving person, a kind individual, and that I am speaking for myself and honoring her in that.
So when we talk about the foundation, Keris Kares, do you have a role in it? Do you plan to take on a role? Like, what does it mean to you? Like,
So I just got promoted to junior ambassador. Just recently, last year, I finally stepped up and took on that role of just marketing it and spreading the word and getting outside of that shell and really doing this not for me, but for her. But I do hope to take on it one day. I am extremely blessed, this family is, with this organization, and about to be on 12 years. So it's a beautiful thing, and the families were able to help and support. So I give all glory to God for it. I would love to take it on one day, and definitely learn its runnings better and be more involved.